creating a continental impact in the youth employment space. I came to a single conclusion that talent really is everywhere, but opportunity is not. I'm on a personal mission to creating opportunities for millions of young people to earn, to live a life that they're truly capable of. This level of customization today with advanced technologies like AI, we're able to do this not only cheaper, but also at scale. My name is Robert Bob Okello, and I'm the founder and team lead at Maarifasasa Limited. So the inspiration behind Maarifasasa Limited was really to address one of the most pressing challenges we see on the continent, and that is that of the youth unemployment. Across Africa today, we see that large numbers of young people, having gone through school, lack access to meaningful employment opportunities or opportunities to be able to apply their knowledge and the skills in a manner that is gainful. And so this primarily comes as a result of the skills mismatches. And having seen that a lot of graduates are leaving university without any preparation, especially for the digital economy, that really is where the inspiration to start Maarifasasa came about, to then focus on closing the gap that exists between skills and the opportunities or work opportunities that exist, especially in the digital economy. So youth unemployment as a result of skills mismatches, especially in the digital economy, inspired us to begin this journey of building Maarifasasa. So Maarifasasa is really inspired by our Pan-African ideals, which is think about how we want to have an impact at a continental level. And we chose Maarifasasa because we thought about a language and a word that would really encapture this Pan-African ideal. So we went to Swahili as a very Pan-African language. So Maarifa in Swahili means knowledge, and Sasa is also Swahili, which means now. So Maarifasasa is a combination of Maarifa, Sasa, or knowledge, now. And this really speaks to, one, the sense of urgency with which we see the matter, that young people need skills that they can apply, and that is knowledge right now, not in the future. Across Africa, we see that most people are learning just in case. But what we need is learning just in time. And that is why Maarifasasa really captures that. But this name comes from Swahili, and it speaks really to our Pan-African ideals of creating a continental impact in the youth employment space. So for me, Maarifasasa is very personal. And this is because I have been on my educational journey where a lot of people believed in me, and they gave me access to opportunities that I would otherwise have not been able to access. They believed in me and invested in me. And, going through schooling in Uganda, and then, I ended up on a scholarship program, spent some time in Europe at the United World Colleges. I ended up in the United States at the University of Oklahoma for my university education. I came to a single conclusion that talent really is everywhere, but opportunity is not. And so for me, I have embarked on a personal mission to ensure that we can democratize access to life-changing opportunities for young people across Africa. That really is, I would say, the personal angle from my own experience. Seeing a lot of my peers, very talented and gifted people who are living lives that do not fully reflect what they're truly capable of, simply because they don't have access to certain opportunities. And so I'm on a personal mission to creating opportunities for millions of young people to earn, to live a life that they're truly capable of. So at Maarifasasa, we run a learn to earn model, which means that we're not just training our participants and our young people for the sake of giving them a certificate. Ultimately, the skills that they're learning need to translate into earning. And the best way to validate that is seeing a young person coming through our program, acquiring very practical skills, and then translating those skills into employment opportunities. One of the most fulfilling things for me is seeing learners who are testifying and telling us, listen, having gotten this skill, now I'm working remotely for a company X that pays me. I'm now paying tuition for my younger siblings. I'm taking care of my family. That for me is the greatest validation. Seeing the outcome of this work, how it is impacting real people and real lives. That is one of the most fulfilling things to see. Our key drivers for growth comes from two places. First is the understanding the demographic opportunity that Africa has. Being one of the youngest continents in the world, we are seeing that there's a massive shift happening in the global landscape, where in many parts of the world the populations are either stagnant or declining, and this translates into a very practical thing at an economic level: labor force and talent. In many parts of the world, companies are beginning to look, where do we find the talent that we need? Where do we access, vibrant talent to be able to grow our companies? And Africa is now becoming at the center in terms of a destination for a lot of companies globally. The whole world is beginning to look into Africa. We have the youngest population, we have the fastest growing populations. And so for us, it's really positioning ourselves to say, for us to be able to grow, we need to be able to tap into this opportunity. We need to equip our young people with skills to make them globally competitive and position them to be able to capture value at the global scale, especially in the digital economy. So, there's a massive demand for skilling across the continent today, especially around digital. That presents a massive growth opportunity for us. But also on the job placement side of things, a lot of companies are looking for talented young people. That presents a massive growth opportunity for us as well. If we can supply that talent, we find ourselves in a very interesting place to really grow and capture the value that is being created through this global digital economy interactions. Education inequality, especially in underserved communities, has become a very serious issue. And I think that with technology, we are able to now do certain things that we were not able to do before. Technology definitely serves primarily as a catalyst for growth. It is not the end in itself. So ours here at Maarifasasa are saying, how do we leverage all of these e-learning platforms to reach more young people than we would otherwise be able to? We are, for example, based here in Lira, in northern Uganda. Without technology, we would only be able to serve the young people within our location. But there are marginalized populations of young people across the country. We have people in refugee camps. We have young people in other parts of the country where a lot of these solutions may not be able to reach. But today with technology, we're able to reach them. Most young people today can now afford or have some means of accessing a smartphone, for example. How do we use that smartphone that they have to deliver in-demand skills for them that unlock opportunities that they would otherwise not be able to? This is what technology allows us to do. But also, learners learn in different ways. Today, for example, with artificial intelligence now, we are able to really customize learning to particular needs of given learners and not use a one-size-fits-all approach or put all learners in the same box. This level of customization today with advanced technologies like AI, we're able to do this not only cheaper, but also at scale. And that is the power of technology. So for us, ours is to see how do we leverage these tools, these technological tools, to now scale our impact across the country, but beyond Uganda as well. And I think that is where educational technologies like ours become very, very impactful in terms of scaling solutions that have been proven and tested over time. So we have evolved tremendously. In fact, we just made 8 years since our incorporation. Incorporation and startup operations are obviously different things. But since we, put to paper and declared that we are going to get on this journey, it's been 8 years for us. And so much has changed in the last 8 years since our incorporation. We have pivoted several times. At the beginning, we were really trying to find that market fit, which in the educational value chain, where do we want to focus? Is it early childhood education? So we did some stuff at the beginning at ECD level. it did not turn to be our area of focus and expertise. We then pivoted and started looking at primary and secondary education. How do we digitize the curriculum? How do we use technology to ensure that young people at the secondary and primary school levels access quality educational content digitally? We tried that, and it wasn't our most suitable space. Then COVID came, and COVID is really where we had the massive shift in terms of our pivot, and it became clear to us that if we are to be able to garner long-term success and long-term growth, we need to think about the biggest issue that young people face, and that was unemployment for us. So we really began understanding what is it that causes this youth unemployment. And we came down to a couple of things. One of them is definitely the skills mismatches. And so today, our focus is now on really addressing the issue of skills mismatches, but also unlocking at scale employment opportunities for young people across Uganda and across Africa. So there's been a lot of changes, and we have seen tremendous growth as well in terms of just our impact. From just a few hundred people, today we boast of over 10,000 young people who have gone through our programs. And we see close to 2,000 who are in meaningful, gainful work, either as freelancers or those who are now being remotely placed to work for companies locally and internationally. And I think for us, that is what gives us the foundation and the basis to even dream bigger. Our goal now, looking into the future, is to target 1 million young people. We have spent the last couple of years really refining the model, understanding what works, abandoning what doesn't, and really zeroing down on the things that has been proven to work, applying different principles of learning science, curriculum design, pedagogy. And we are now at the stage where I think, in the initial setup stage for scale and for growth, seeing how do we do this at scale. That is now our focus. But this is a result of all the lessons we have learned, all the pivots, and all the refining that has happened in our model, but also, in our business, case that we are making through the interventions that we are deploying in the market. For us to be able to achieve this goal of reaching 1 million or unlocking 1 million employment opportunities across the continent in the digital economy, we cannot do this alone. We must partner with like-minded entities and organizations across the continent. And this is really how we are approaching this scale. So far, we already have a footprint in Southern Africa, in the country of Eswatini, through partnership. We have access to markets in Ghana, for example, in West Africa, through partnerships. So one thing that has been proven and tested is that partnerships are the only way for us to be able to scale this impact. But also ensuring that our internal systems are robust enough to support our growth and scale ambitions. And we have been in the past couple of years really focusing on building internal systems, on beefing up our technology infrastructure to be able to accommodate the numbers that we are looking at, but really to be able to house that scale and that impact. So right now, as we speak, we have several partnerships that are already in existence. We have several partnerships that are already in the pipeline. And by really zeroing down on these partnerships, we believe we'll be able to achieve that. Now, we also have a large and growing network of alumni and young people who have benefited from our programs. We see that also as a component of our scale infrastructure. How do we leverage, the alumni network that we have to be able to reach more young people across the continent, but also working very close with the different stakeholders within the educational ecosystem. We have academia, we're working very close with the universities, for example. We have the development partners. A lot of them are supporting different countries across the continent with education-related stuff. We have to work with them, but also governments. For us to scale across countries, we have to be able to align with some of the national strategies that different governments have, especially in line with youth employment and skilling initiatives. So this really is our growth playbook, so to speak. Understanding that whereas the problem and the challenge that we're solving is universal, different countries may have different approaches and policy frameworks to tackle this challenge. and ours to see how do we leverage the infrastructure that we have, align ourselves to such national policies and partnership strategies to be able to all achieve the universal goal. Because I believe that we are all after the same goal across the continent. All people concerned with the young people want to ensure that we create more jobs. They want to ensure that there's dignified and meaningful employment. And so at that fundamental level, I believe that the alignment is strong. All we have to see now is how do we agree on the how to achieve it, and that may vary from country to country. And I think that is really what we are navigating at the moment. Aligning our training programs and our talent development strategy with the market is very important. For a very long time, we have had this fundamental understanding that for us to be able to address this issue, we have to ensure that the skills that we are offering young people is market driven. So our curriculum is completely informed by the market. If you see that this is what the jobs that are being posted, this is what companies are looking for in terms of skill sets, then we align the curriculum to make sure that we are producing talent that actually fixes those issues. But of course, we believe firmly in thinking globally and acting locally, right? In many cases, in our situations, we see, of course, experts being flown in from all around the world because we cannot find local expertise. So I think for us, our approach is firmly grounded in the belief that for us to be able to reverse that kind of cycle, we must focus on local capacity development. And so training young people in those particular areas to ensure that we have a supply of local expertise in those particular areas is very key for us. But ultimately, this also works for our economies because, if our young people are working from here, because the other aspect is also true where a lot of our people are being flown to go elsewhere and provide work because they can't find the opportunity locally, right? So we find ourselves in these two situations where the experts coming in because we can't find local expertise, but also it's a lot of talent leaving because that talent can't be utilized locally. Our goal is to ensure that any young person across the continent can access the opportunity that they need from wherever they are without feeling the need to be able to leave the country and so on. So for us, it's really looking at what skills are in demand, where are the gaps, and really tailoring our training programs, our curricula, and all the different approaches to meet those particular gaps that we see in the market. Not the reverse, which is typically what the traditional education system does, where we just train you just in case. Train you to be an accountant, an engineer, and hope that there's going to be a job there for you as an accountant. We're not in the business of hoping, because hope has never been a strategy. We look at the needs in the market and directly design solutions and programs that address those particular needs. And I believe that's how you can ensure, or to somewhat extent, guarantee that there is a match between the skills and the opportunities at scale. We cannot just wing it and just hope for the best at this stage, because that's what we have been doing for a long time and it hasn't worked. It's what has gotten us to this place where we have a lot of young people who are unemployed. The reverse is making sure that all the stakeholders are talking to each other. The market demands in terms of skills. Academia is understanding that there's a component of research as well. There's a component of policy alignment and creating incentives to ensure that at the end of the day, everything is working to taking us in the right direction and we're moving in the same direction, which is to unlock opportunities for young people at scale, wherever those opportunities might be.